Star Wars, the 7 most powerful Sith Lords. In the Star Wars galaxy and lore, wherever there exists Jedi, there must be those that oppose them. In most cases, those people are the Sith. The most powerful Jedi go up against the most powerful Sith in a seemingly never-ending battle for the fate of the galaxy. As a future emperor would say, the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. These 15 characters tapped into those abilities better than anyone else, leading them to become the most powerful Sith to ever exist. 8. Darth Revan, the player character of Knights of the Old Republic. Revan began as a Jedi Knight who went rogue to fight in the Mandalorian Wars alongside Malak. After the wars, Revan fell to the dark side, embracing his new role as Dark Lord of the Sith. Malak betrayed him, and his memory was lost during the attack, leading the Jedi to reprogram his mind as someone loyal to the Republic. During the player's journey as Revan, they learn to control their Force powers again, becoming an extremely powerful warrior that can destroy entire squads of troops at once and defeat even the most skilled of enemies. After vanquishing Malak and his forces during the events of Knights of the Old Republic, he journeyed into the unknown regions of the galaxy. He would encounter the Sith Emperor and make it his mission to defeat him in the Sith Empire. While Revan would return to the light side, there's no questioning that he was one of the most powerful Sith ever to exist. 7. Mark Arrhenius, one of the most powerful Sith and among the most important. Mark Arrhenius was a Sith species, human hybrid who wrestled control of the Sith from Darth Simus. He was able to manipulate his enemies into fighting each other rather than him, ensuring that their focus was always on the other. He was so powerful that he could manifest himself as a Force ghost to attend his own funeral, where he would pit Naga Sato and Ludo Crush against one another for the right to call themselves Dark Lord of the Sith. As a Force ghost on the planet Corbin, he would interact with future Sith Lords Exar Kunand, Alik Keldroma, where he could ensure the Sith Empire was in good hands. 6. Darth Tenebrous, master to Darth Plagueis. Tenebrous was a Bith Sith warrior who sought the means to cheat death, and worked with his apprentice to try and accomplish this goal. He was an extremely powerful warrior skilled in lightsaber combat and could generate red force lightning, a rarity amongst the Sith. His precognitive abilities were also unparalleled in power, as he developed the ability to determine the exact moment of his death. 5. Darth Plagueis. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Although the tragedy has become more of a meme than a Sith legend at this point, Plagueis was nonetheless one of the most powerful Sith ever. Plagueis was the master of Darth Sidious, and taught the future Emperor everything he knew about the dark side. Like his apprentice would as well, Plagueis was obsessed with finding a means to immortality. He sought to combine science with the dark mysteries of the Sith to accomplish this. But before he got a chance to learn what he needed to, Sidious killed him and took the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith. Plagueis was powerful enough to literally create life from the Force and prevent death. Sidious would also use these techniques to influence and corrupt Anakin Skywalker, his apprentice, and the Sith Lord Darth Vader. 4. Darth Bane. Darth Bane was not the most powerful Sith ever, but his influence over the future of the Sith Order was undeniable. 1,000 years before the formation of the Galactic Empire, the Jedi Sith fought their final war, which ended with the Jedi Republic victory. Darth Bane was the lone Sith survivor of the final battle of that war, and he realized that there needed to change for the Order to survive. Bane established the Rule of Two, which stated that rather than massive armies of soldiers, the Sith would have no more than 2 members at any given time, a master and an apprentice. The master would teach the apprentice everything until they grew strong enough to defeat their master. This rule would continue for thousands of years. But some Sith definitely played fast and loose with it. For example, Count Dooku was Sidious's apprentice, but Dooku also had a Sage Ventress as a learner. Ventress was a Sith in all but name, a powerful dark side user that went toe toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker regularly during the Clone Wars. 3. Darth Vader. This might be a bit of a controversial pick at just number 3, but Darth Vader, perhaps the best-known dark side user, is not the most powerful Sith ever. Born Anakin Skywalker, Vader became an extremely powerful Jedi Knight, one who was prophesied to be the chosen one who would bring balance to the Force. Instead of destroying the Sith, he would join them, becoming Darth Sidious' apprentice to save his wife, Padmé Amidala, from death. He became corrupted by the dark side, dueling his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who defeated and nearly killed him. Vader was left without any limbs and with extensive burns across his body, leading Palpatine to fit him with cybernetics that would keep him alive. Although in constant pain, Vader used his pain and anger to fuel his dark side powers, becoming one of the most powerful Sith ever and perhaps the most feared. He was the enforcer of the Empire, using his red lightsaber and black armor to strike fear into his enemies, becoming an instrument of terror to fight the rebels. Vader could take on entire companies of rebels by himself, dispatching them with ease. For as powerful as he was also a useful propaganda tool, the mere mention of his name being an effective weapon in and of itself. 2. Darth Nihilus. The last member of the Sith triumvirate, Darth Nihilus, was one of the survivors of the Battle of Malachor V, which saw the use of a mass shadow generator weapon. Think something similar to a space nuke. The weapon made him crave Force energy to such a point that it ravaged his body and turned him into a shadow and a wound in the Force. Known as the Lure of Hunger, Nihilus worked with Darth Shin to overthrow Darth Trier. They then worked together to try and exterminate the Jedi, nearly destroying the Order entirely. He was defeated by the Jedi Exile, his former apprentice Visas Mar, and Mandalore the Preserver, who managed to sever his connection to the Force long enough for him to be slain. What made Nihilus so powerful was that he lacked any sort of humanity that he once had, becoming a creature fueled by the Force and nothing else. After he and Shin began their purge, a large gathering of Jedi met on the planet Qatar, where Nihilus drained the planet of its Force energy. The entire planet. It devastated the planet, killed nearly everyone on it, and cemented Nihilus' place amongst Sith legend. 1. Darth Sidious. The one that towers above all the others, and the villain of the entire Skywalker saga. Darth Sidious was unparalleled in his strength in the Force, talents with a lightsaber, and skills with manipulation. He was able to orchestrate the Clone Wars, secretly controlled both sides, and successfully created the first galactic essentially Sith empire in generations. Not only was he able to accomplish this, but he also managed to keep his plan hidden from the Jedi the entire time. It wasn't until Anakin Skywalker discovered his true identity that things nearly came unraveled. But by then, it was too late. The rule of the Galactic Empire started and ended with Palpatine brutally controlling everything and did not possess an ounce of humanity or compassion for those living under his direction. Palpatine's only goal was to achieve more power and, through that, immortality. Through the years, his abilities became so strong that he could not only generate Force lightning, but use it to destroy entire fleets, as seen in Rise of Skywalker. His power also grew to such a point that, as he alluded to in Revenge of the Sith, he was able to cheat death. When Darth Vader threw his body into the Death Star reactor, he could transfer his consciousness into a clone body on Axegul, a planet across the galaxy. From there, he used his scheming skills again, orchestrating the rise of the First Order, the creation of Supreme Leader Snoke as a puppet, and the Final Order, nearly conquering the galaxy again. His power was seemingly incalculable, and if he were to face off against any other Sith Lord, he would likely defeat them with ease.